Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of In Conversation by Advisor Coach. Today in conversation, our guest is Mr. Vaibhav Shah, Head of Products, Head of Business Strategy and International Business with Mirae Asset Mutual Fund. Welcome, Vaibhav, to In Conversation by Advisor Coach.
Yeah, thanks, Suren, for inviting me for this
Our
session.
pleasure. So, Vaibhav, how is the progress going for Mirae Asset as far as the Gift City process is concerned?
Yeah, thanks, Suren. So I think we started our gift sort of offering from September 2023. We are managing an offshore fund called as Mirae India Midcap Fund from the Gift City. It's a more than a $250 million fund, which we are managing from the Gift City. And I would say, the response when I meet global investors and understanding on gift is sort of very, very good. Um, and people are sort of very positive on how the gift city is sort of developing. Um, Sometime last year in July 2024, we also launched an inbound fund called as Mirae India Equity Allocation Fund. That fund allows NRIs and foreign nationals to invest into India
Mm-hmm.
and gives access to Indian markets. And it's been about 8, 9 months. It's been very tough, challenging markets, like you can see volatility all around. But happy to say that the response again from NRIs and foreign nationals is positive in that product. We've been able to collect somewhere about $25 million in that fund.
Sure.
And I can tell you the interest is significantly high for global investors. And I would say how global investors, including NRIs or foreign nationals, are looking at Gift City is that they are feeling Gift City is a very easy way for them to invest into India,
Mm-hmm.
where KYC, documentation, taxation, repatriation, and transfer through banks is all significantly much easier than the existing route that they were investing into India.
Right.
And I think so. This should sort of ensure that this mobilization becomes larger as people get more educated on gift and sort of how Gift City works. And the government is working a lot to enhance the awareness and visibility of Gift City. So I think we are in very interesting times ahead.
Sure, sure. Could you just briefly touch upon, the concept of the gift city for the viewers, as well as some of the advantages and the purposes behind setting up a gift city?
Sure. So most importantly, Suren, is the idea of Gift City is that we had a lot of Indian managers who were managing money from Singapore, Dubai, Mauritius, and Indian managers sitting outside managing India money. Why should the Indian manager be based outside India, and why can't that money be managed directly from India? Hence, the idea of gift was to attract foreign capital directly into India,
Mm-hmm.
so that the sort of capital remains in India. We create a financial system or a jurisdiction within India, which can get foreign capital and can help grow the entire size of the economy. And we are seeing a lot of foreign AMCs moving from foreign Indian AMCs moving their funds from Mauritius, Singapore, Dubai, etc., to the Gift City. Like
Right.
I'd mentioned, we were also, uh, you know, advising on a fund, a Luxembourg-based product, which now we are managing the product from the Gift City. So Gift City gives you that ease of transactions, of doing trades, uh, and the jurisdiction is at much lower cost
Mm-hmm.
compared to some of the global jurisdictions that I mentioned. Um, and few reasons why I think so Gift City can provide more flexibility to investors. It allows you to access investing in 15 currencies.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 global currencies are allowed to be traded in the gift. In fact, one currency not allowed is INR because as per FEMA, Gift City
Of
is
course.
considered not a part of India,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if you want to deal in Gift City products, you deal in dollar, euro, pound, sterling, Singapore dollar, etc. And you have one unified regulator. The regulator is called as IFSCA, which has powers equal to the four regulators in India: RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and PFRDA. So he's a super regulator, very friendly regulator. The idea is to enhance the ease of investing for global investors into India. And third, I think the taxation regime in Gift City
Mm-hmm.
makes it very attractive for foreign investors to look at India. So tax regime in the Gift City is either at par or superior to most of the financial jurisdictions.
Right.
And that's the reason why a lot of managers are contemplating why don't we have our arms in the Gift City to manage funds.
Right.
So evolving space, and I'm sure in the next couple of years, a lot of things will change. And I would say sessions like this will help educate investors and distributors more about Gift City, because
Absolutely.
people know AIFs, people know MF, but a lot of people don't know Gift City. So
Yes.
sessions like these are very, very important to educate investors and partners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Mirae globally has a lot of global funds, being a global brand. So could you
Right.
give some insights in terms of what are the global fund strategies which Mirae Asset globally is running,
Sure.
and what's the size?
Sure. So Suren, Mirae was started in 1997.
Hmm.
So it's been about more than 25, 27 years for the group. And Mirae Global Investments, or the investment arm for us, where we manage our asset management business, is one of our most important arms. Globally, we manage close to about $250 billion of assets
Hmm.
across 19 countries. And we have, large part of the assets, more than $150 billion of these assets through ETFs. So we are amongst the top 12 ETF managers globally as well. And in a very short time, like I said, about 25, 27 years, it's emerged as one of the strongest or largest asset manager from this part of Asia.
Hmm.
We have about more than 700 offshore funds, uh, which cover to various markets. So they start from the developed markets like US, the European market, then you have the emerging markets where Brazil, China, Taiwan, Japan, India are sort of part of that strategy. And you have brilliant thematic strategies like AI, semiconductor, electric vehicle, genomics, disruptive materials, weather indices. In fact, some of these thematic products, Mirae Asset was one of the first entities to launch it globally.
Right.
So a beautiful product range across asset classes, across countries, and a long track record, which we can leverage to provide investment solutions for investors.
Wonderful. So I believe Mirae Asset is also opening up their onshore offshore product through the Gift City, investing in the Mirae Asset Global Opportunities Fund, asset global asset allocation fund. So is it under the LRS route? And could you briefly explain as to what this is all about? And Vaibhav, to your mind, does a global fund makes a difference as we speak for an investor's client portfolio?
Sure. So a lot of questions from you, Suren. So I'll maybe answer one by one. Uh,
I'll keep
first,
reminding.
so first one is the fund. We are very happy to say that we are launching a fund called as Mirae Asset Global Allocation Fund. This is a CAT 3 AIF scheme, and it's a 3-year close-ended product.
Okay.
The concept of the product is very simple. We want to give investors, Indian investors, through the LRS route, exposure to global markets. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, because the mutual fund limit for investing in stocks and ETFs have been
Very
sort of
true.
utilized and
Yes.
exhausted, these investors are not able to invest into global markets.
Hmm.
Now, as an Indian investor, it's good to love India, but it's very, very important to have your allocation across sort of countries. Because what does global allocation help you with? The idea of asset allocation is simple. You want to invest in asset classes which have low or inverse correlation between each other,
Hmm.
right? And advantage when you invest in some of these market is that they give you low to maybe inverse correlation, um, and which can help reduce your sort of risk while you are investing in the Indian markets. Second, there are many themes globally, like we discuss AI, semiconductor, blockchain, disruptive materials, genomics, telemedicine. Now, India is maybe a decade back to some of these themes. So these themes might take 5 or 10 years to emerge in India, and there's not enough listed companies available for Indian investors to invest. So if you want to catch some of these themes early, it makes sense that you invest in global funds and you take advantage of some of these themes before time.
Right.
Third is all our assets or investments is in INR terms, right? And we've seen what has happened over the last few years to diversify your currency risk. is also very, very important. Over a long period of time, we've actually seen that the rupee versus the dollar appreciates between 3 to 4%. Though in recent time, rupee has done relatively better because the inflation differential between India and US has gone down. Yet on a structural basis, you would expect a 2 to 3% depreciation in the INR versus the dollar. And by investing in global markets, the advantage you get is that the rupee depreciation actually adds to your returns.
Right.
So very interesting data is that though all of us know that the rupee has the Indian market has given about 14-15% return over 10 or 15-year period, but in dollar terms, the US market has been able to outperform India by about 4 to 5%. Right. So if an investor wants to get access to global markets where his returns can get enhanced and capture unique themes,
Sure.
global investing becomes a very, very interesting part of an investor's bouquet, which he should not ignore, as it improves the risk adjusted profile of the investor and helps give diversification to the portfolio and creates a better investment experience over long periods of time for investors.
Sure, sure. So Mirae Asset Global Allocation Fund is a fund already running, or it will be a new fund which will get created?
Yeah. So it's a new fund that will be launching through our GIFT City route.
Okay.
And the GIFT City route will allow resident Indians or even NRIs or foreign nationals to invest through this fund. This being a CAT 3 AIF, it means that the ticket size of this fund is north of $150,000. And which means, about ticket size is about 1.3 CR when you look at the current sort of conversions,
Sure.
which is currently going on. And there are restrictions that only allows up to 1,000 investors to be invested in this fund. The fund is a 3-year close-ended product.
Okay.
And gives you access to global markets. Maybe I'll just share a little bit about the strategy of the fund. So our
I just
thought
wanted to
is,
know also any specific economies you're targeting through this fund as well?
yeah. So I was going to cover that. So thanks for asking that. So the idea was to give first a core allocation, and the core allocation, say about 50 to 70% of our allocation will be core, and 30-50% of our allocation will be tactical.
Sure.
So for core allocation, we believe US or developed markets are most important markets. Investors cannot sort of look beyond because US is at 25% of the world's GDP. In the MSCI World Index, it has more than 65% weightage. But when you look at the world's market cap, they are about more than 50% of the world's market cap.
Yes.
So we need to give exposure to US markets, as a lot of global companies are listed in the US and give you interesting themes like we discussed. So there will be a core allocation, and sort of US market will be one of the core allocation. And in US, because there is a lot of news flow and valuations are discomforting on tech, we've preferred to look at the S&P 500, which gives you a flavor of the new economy, technology, as well as the old economy of US, to give you a balanced sort of approach. And the news flow that we are seeing on tariffs, etc., which are causing volatility, means Mr. Trump is trying to revive manufacturing or the old economy of US back to power. And hence, this becomes very, very important that we take US exposure as part of this portfolio. So the idea was US market is a very, very important theme that we sort of cannot ignore. One very core theme which we feel will define the world over the next 10 years is AI. And about 15 to 20% of the allocation will go to AI. See, AI is now encompassed all businesses across sectors and across business lines. Any business who's not thinking of how to integrate AI in their business model is bound to fail. So we believe we have a beautiful fund called as Global AI, which lets you invest in global artificial intelligence companies across the world. A fund which has a great track record. And we think this is being a structural theme for the next 5-10 years or even beyond. And hence, AI is a part of our core allocation. On the tactical allocation, we are looking at exposure to emerging markets, and within emerging markets, it's either China or Brazil. that we sort of looking very positive on. I know the news flow on China currently looks sort of negative because of the tariff thing, but it's a very large economy. Finally, across sectors, they are sort of doing a lot of changes, and many of their companies are next in line to some of the large US companies. Uh,
Absolutely.
and and the monetary policy and fiscal policies of China are now moving towards making it easy to
Mhm.
do business as well as creating a better investment and environment. So China is again an emerging market which can be a tactical play, and we like themes like semiconductor and blockchain, and those two can also be a part of a tactical allocation that we will look at.
Sure.
So the fund will give you a tactical play on developed emerging markets and themes which we would dynamically like to invest in. We will be doing a gathering of assets over a 1 year period
Right.
so that you can be able to stagger your investments.
Yes.
So most important thing that we are seeing in the last 2-3 months is volatility.
Mhm.
And time and again, we've learned that the best way to navigate volatility is to stagger your investments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and hence we are sort of going to take money in 5 or 6 tranches so that you can average your investments over this period. And then sort of the period of the fund will be a 3 year close-ended product so that you can take advantage of volatility, create a better entry point for you, and take exposure of some of these themes in a very dynamic manner. Say tomorrow, if something were to go wrong in one of the sectors, I can sort of remove that as part of my underlying and replace it with some other strategy. So
Sure.
this dynamic allocation strategy will also give you better exposure while investing across geographies and themes.
Sure. So besides the US economy on the developed economy side, will there be other developed economies you'll be looking at for this fund?
Yeah, so of course, like I said, China is there, Brazil is there. So if you look at semiconductor is a very big theme.
No, like
So
more like, are you looking at Europe as well on this?
no, actually, Europe, we think the economy is not going to grow at a much faster pace.
Sure.
And some of the listed names in the US markets are far better and superior from both valuations as business perspective
Of course.
compared to some of the European peers. And hence, maybe Europe at this moment will not be a preferred market to
Yeah.
invest.
But in the case if the investment management team wants to, of course, there's nothing binding factor, right? They could do it as well in case the opportunity
No,
does come.
no, absolutely. The idea is we want it to be quite dynamic
Right.
and based on whichever market looks better, whether it's US, China, Europe, whichever market segment looks sort of attractive.
Mm.
Idea is to take that exposure actively so that we can give investors a better investment experience and they can get investments without need to figure out which markets or themes to invest in. Let the fund management team take that pressure and do it in a tax efficient
Sure.
manner.
Sure. Sure. Well, that's wonderful because it kind of allows the investment gamut to be across the globe, whether through the developed economies or tactical allocations as well. So
Sure.
how does a investor or a distributor or advisor participate in this fund? If you could just, give some brief inputs on that as well.
Yeah. So maybe I would like to say on your side, a lot of our advisors are there, and a lot of advisors are already empaneled and working with Mirae. So some of those partners can contact our local representatives at our locations. And you don't need to separately empanel for selling a gift city fund. You're already empaneled with Mirae. So you just need to enter into a distribution agreement and start selling to your investors.
Sure.
And directly, we're not taking money directly from investors. We don't have a direct website to do it. This is a private placement fund. Um, However, if you have advisors, you can sort of connect with them, or you can connect with our local sales team who can sort of help you to make the investments in this product.
Sure. So what are your further plans on the Gift City, Vaibhav, and what message would you like to give to, let's say, mutual fund distributors, investors, advisors, particularly because today what's happened is that the investor is now has multiple choices, right? He has mutual funds on one side. He has, of course, PMS. He's got the regular AIFs.
Correct.
He also has, SIFs now, and of course the Gift
Correct.
City. So he's quite spoiled for choices. than
Absolutely.
what an investor was about, let's say, about 3, 4 years ago. So
Absolutely.
what message would you like to give in terms of, Gift City becoming an important allocation, because it kind of gives you a global exposure, products which you're not able to launch onto your domestic platform can be launched on the Gift City platform. And also, what's Mirae Asset India's further plans on the Gift City?
Sure. So our idea is that through the Gift City, we want to launch very innovative, differentiated products. And like I said, we launched our first inbound fund, India Allocation Fund, which allows NRIs and foreign nationals to access Indian markets in a very tax efficient manner, and much better tax efficiency than coming through the mutual fund route on KYC, documentation, taxation, uh, repatriation and remittance of funds. So it makes it easy for investors to access. The second fund, the global allocation funds, will allow resident Indians to invest globally. Again, some of the routes are not available through the mutual fund route. So it gives you one more avenue to invest.
Absolutely. And
And now we are working on active ETFs. We are working on retail mutual funds also through the Gift City. At the moment, we are doing AIFs, but we will be launching retail mutual fund as well through the Gift City, which will allow you to invest with a lower ticket size as well. And uh, being a global AMC, some very innovative products which are available globally, which are not available to Indian investors, is what we would try and keep launching, which will give investors a very differentiated exposure to markets and themes which they would like to access. And uh, Suren, you rightly mentioned, see, as an investor, what should be the role of any manufacturer? The
Mhm.
role of the manufacturer is to create a bouquet of products, whether it's mutual funds, ETFs, SIFs, AIF, PMS, Gift City, etc. Because each investor has his own preference, or a distributor has his own preference based on his discussion with the investor. And the idea is the investor should be able to access products which best suit them. So
Sure.
the idea to have an entire basket is to create convenience for investing for investors, to provide more investment avenues, and to give them a better sort of experience while investing. So
Sure.
idea, even within gift or any other way of investing, is to enhance the opportunities that are in front of investors so that their experience is sort of magnified.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Vaibhav. So, well, for our viewers, this is Mr. Vaibhav Shah, Head of Products, Business Strategy, and International Business with Mirae Asset Mutual Fund, talking about their new offering, on the Gift City platform, the onshore offshore fund, the Mirae Asset Global Allocation Fund. It's a 3-year Cat 3 closed-ended fund, and I think it was wonderful having this conversation, Weber, because you explained the basics of Gift City and why it makes a lot of sense for the international investing, considering that the $7 billion needle hasn't moved for many years. And this also gives another avenue, for those investors looking to allocate their funds, globally across as well. Thank you so much, Weber, for taking out time and sharing your knowledge and wisdom, about the Gift City Fund which you're coming up with. And thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for to the entire team of Advisor Coach for letting me explain Gift City and this product to investors and partners. And if you need any support, please do get in touch with the Mirae Asset representative for further details. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Weber. Thank you very much.